Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy VI. We are at the halfway point of our radical whitewater rafting tour through the Lethe River. Coming up ahead, we're going to have another junction where we can choose where we want to go. We have up and left this time. We don't want to go up. Up takes you through a bunch of battles, and it just loops you back around to that decision. Left brings you right here to another mandatory save point. You don't have to save here, but you do have to trip the save point. And I think there's like a 50-50 chance of getting some kind of monster encounter if you take the left path, which we didn't get. So we avoided most of the fights on the river, which is okay for keeping Bannon alive, although he was never in that much real danger. It's a little bit hairy because we don't get that XP, so we come into this just slightly underleveled. Ultros here. Oh, he looks like Raremon from Digimon. This is a very commonly recurring enemy in Final Fantasy, making what I believe to be his first appearance here in Final Fantasy VI. I think the weirdest spot that I've seen Ultros show up in is in the FF15 movie, Kingsglaive. So weird. He is super talkative. The main thing that makes Ultros really dangerous, actually, is just that he hits pretty hard. Plus, like I said, I'm coming in a little bit under-leveled from not taking more river fights on. So back in the main menu in the beginning, you saw me throw everybody into the back row so that they will, again, take 50% reduced damage. And none of them are using the direct attack command, so it doesn't hamstring them very much either. Oh, I'm so mad that doesn't work! I mean, it's kind of to be expected if you know what Meteor Strike is. But, don't worry, we will see that one in action. I'm going to show off all of his blitzes. But Meteor Strike in particular, that's a good one. There's, one of the reasons that I'm doing this LP is for one of the things that you can Meteor Strike. Also, you inked Terra and it kind of looks like she's wearing cool shades. Ultros has a very predictable attack pattern that you don't actually have to bother memorizing. If you have everybody in the back row, just have Bannon pray every time his turn comes up. Leave everyone else doing their own thing. You'll never have to figure out when to use the defend command or anything like that to kind of play around all of the damage that Ultros can do. He'll either do single tentacles to a predictable target, he'll do the ink, which I think blinds, but that's not going to affect the party too much, and he is the multi-tentacle that hits the whole party. So we are low health for being at the level we're at, and he is hitting fairly hard, but Bannon heals the whole party back up. Tops everybody up really well. So we're not in any actual danger in this fight. Some of these party members could get one-shotted if they're in the front row. So it's a little bit scary like that. And that's it. And we immediately switch to like comedy relief slapstick stuff. Ultros is kind of a goofy boss anyway. Like, he's just a goofy looking octopus monster. Terra's wandering too close to the edge. Fucking Sabin hates him so much. And this is where you really get the better feel for how much of a meathead Sabin is. Dive straight in. Always a tad zealous. Oh, what does that sound in my left headphone? Okay, so I said we would talk about the version differences last time. The Super Nintendo version of the game, the one that we were playing on, was the original. It contains a slightly worse translation from the original Japanese. There were more bugs in the Super Nintendo version compared to the ones that came later. But it has by far the best sound quality and visuals He just floats off down the river like he's dead. Some of the localization changes aren't so bad either. Like, Terra's original name is supposed to be Tina Bradford. Oh, and now we come to a really, really interesting point in the early game where we get control of Mog, and Mog is going to be kind of the vessel through which we choose which scenario. There's Locke down in South Figaro. There's Sabin, who just floated off on the fork in the river. And then we have Bannon, Edgar, and Terra's scenario, which we'll take on first. We got river. Oh, we got a river fight against something kind of newish, I think. Can't remember if we fought them last time, to be honest. Anyway, I'm probably not gonna I'm not gonna cut too many fights out while I go through all this. Yeah, that's one of them. Tina de Terra. I will never ever accept Tina. That's garbage. The GBA version of the game is slightly overexposed looking because the GBA wasn't backlit. And they didn't account for people having, like, shit, what was it? The light for the screen. So they just brightened everything really intensely and cranked the gamma really high to compensate for that. So if you're playing on, like, a virtual console version of the GBA version, or the emulator version, it looks a little bit off. Of course, the GBA sound trip was inferior to that of the SNES, so the overall sound quality and the quality of the music especially is really bad in the GBA. But the GBA version does add 2 dungeons, which is... they have some roided out boss refights, along with Omega Weapon and the Kaiser Dragon. 2 super bosses. Also in the GBA version, there is Leviathan, Cactar, Gilgamesh, and Diablo. Yeah. The GBA version adds those 4 as summonables, so we unfortunately are going to miss out on those 4. And a couple of weapons, but not really the biggest deal. There's also a decent PlayStation version that I had kind of forgotten about, which is mostly similar to the Super Nintendo version, except that it adds a lot of really, really nice FMV cutscenes, actually. So we can't go directly head-on into Narshe, but remember this place, the place that we came out with Locke back in the beginning of the game? Well, Edgar's gonna find Locke's hidden switch here, and we're gonna go back in the caves. None of the other versions of the game are really even worth looking at. Like, the iOS and the Steam versions use these fucking hideous, gross-looking redone backgrounds and sprites, and they don't offer anything new worthwhile. The other thing is that you can also get fan patches and ROM hacks and stuff if you choose to emulate the Super Nintendo or the GBA versions. And a lot of that stuff will fix their respective versions' shortcomings. Like the Super Nintendo version I'm using is patched with bug fixes for one, and updated translations from the GBA version, while retaining that really, really pristine sound quality that I was looking for. I originally tried this out on the GBA with the color patch and the sound quality patch, but I thought the sound quality was still rather poor. And there's the main reason that I did it. The thing that I'm talking about with the sound quality is that there's a persistent background hiss that I could not tolerate, and I didn't want to make anyone else tolerate it either. I don't particularly think it's me being an audiophile. It's very apparent. It's just, it drove me crazy while I was playing the first hour or two of the game. So I just didn't want to deal with that and switched over to the Super Nintendo version. Actually, I might... Oh, shit, I forgot about this. I've already lost track. Okay. Ooh, this isn't good. I forgot this room was right here, and I was... Oh, man. In the middle of my spiel. So, luckily, if you mess this up, you have to follow the path the light took. If you mess this up, then there's a little red light that will come up that you have to run into. Okay, it was this, and then down. No, I think I was supposed to go all the way down, and then right and up, and then left here. Ugh. Didn't slow us down too much, though. What I was saying is, what I might do is I might just look into the PlayStation version, like a ROM of it, if I can find a similar kind of fan patch for the translations there. Just so we could see all the nice FMVs, and I'll put any ones that we missed up till now in a bonus episode. Because otherwise, sound quality, visual fidelity of the sprites, that's all maintained just fine in the PlayStation version. It's just the localization, because it's the same as the SNES version, that I would need to patch up a little bit. And we got a Rune Blade, a Rune Edge. And the whole reason that I wanted to talk about the version differences, the thing that sparked that in the first place, is because if you notice, they didn't call it the Lethe River earlier on when we first started that rafting adventure. It was, I think, Lethe, L-E-T-E. Just a very small difference. There's also some stuff like names of attacks. The Rune Edge that we picked up, I think in a different version, is called the Rune Blade. I'm pretty sure we're safe to pick these chests up. I haven't memorized, like, every single one, but the fact that I don't remember if these turn into something good later gives me confidence that they probably don't. Pretty sure this is okay. Oh yeah, the name of Sabin's Blitzes. Meteor Strike is a very different name that you might already know what it is. I'm not gonna spoil that in case you don't, though, because what it is something super fucking dope. And once we get to Sabin's scenario, you're gonna see it in use. Oh yeah, you are gonna see that in use. And there are some other minor differences here and there. So I thought it would be worth kind of going into the merits and the downsides of the different versions of the game. And of course, if you want to play this on legit hardware, there's always the virtual console, there's PSN, you can get copies on. If you want original hardware, yeah, I'm pretty sure the carts are fairly expensive. Huh, actually, FF6, did that come with FF Tactics back in the day? I'm pretty sure it does. Or am I thinking, because I have a disc like that. I'm thinking it might be my Chrono Cross disc that has Chrono Trigger on it. I think it's the Chrono Cross Anniversary disc. I want to say 6 comes with Tactics, though. I have to dig into my closet and see. Either way, I don't feel terribly bad about emulating this, because 1, it's a super old game, and 2, I own probably 4 copies of FF6 on different platforms, including PSN. After seeing the Esper in the coal mine, everyone's become uneasy. Well, that's what we brought Terra here about, is that frozen Esper we saw in the mines at the very beginning of the game. And townspeople are kind of disturbed about it. We need to get Terra to the mines ASAP. I think we're about at the point where this part of Terra's scenario ends. And we can just move on to the next one. Sabin has a fairly long one. And there's a reason why we're going to save him for last, so I'll get into later on. For now, we're going to go back to Locke, who is down in South Figaro, trying to slow down the encroachment of the Gestalt Empire. And he's just going to chill and kind of stealth out around here. Okay, I wasn't sure when he was going to turn his back. Can't go down that alley. We can come on in here, though. Oh, Locke has some fun stuff in his scenario, which we'll get into next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take it easy. Have a good one.